And we have on Brian Walker from Pro Life Action Ministries. So glad to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on. I've wanted to have you on for a long, long time, and I've just never did it. I don't know why.
I don't.
So glad to have you on. But before we get into Pro Life Action Ministries, and this show is a lot about courts and the legal process and things I like and dislike about the courts. Of course, today a rare like. But you were actually involved in a court case in an issue that I talk about a lot, is people being forced to pay for other people's abortions. So you were just in the appellate court last
Friday.
Last Friday.
5th. I mean, February 5th, it was a Wednesday, I think. I don't remember the exact date. But we were there because my wife and I are in a lawsuit, Walker versus Jesson. And that's really against the state of Minnesota. Jesson is the treasurer for the state. And to boil it down to the gist of the lawsuit is that we're suing the state of Minnesota for funding of non-essential, non-life-threatening abortions. In other words, they're paying for elective abortions, which is against their own law.
Oh, okay.
And so for about the past 13 years, they've paid for approximately 37,000 abortions that they...
Well, we have. The people have.
Yeah, the people have. You're
Through
right.
the state.
Yeah, you and I and your viewers have we're proposing that they're illegal because these were not life-threatening procedures. These were not to preserve the health of the mother. And the state is saying, well, wait a minute. This is a decision between a woman and her doctor. And we're saying on the face of it, if you just do the numbers and do the arithmetic, there's 37,000 abortions approximately since about 13 years ago coming up into the lawsuit was filed that should not be paid for by taxpayers' funding. And that is if we boil it all down, that's the gist of the lawsuit.
Yeah, so the law is pretty clear. I mean, I read the law. I don't remember the exact wording, but there's no elective in there. It's for the health of the mother.
Yes.
And that's the standard.
That's the standard.
But we've been paying for elective abortions. Well, this comes up in a lot of the issues we deal with the state. The law's passed, and the state just goes way overboard for baby DNA, collecting baby's DNA, and the state just doesn't respond to the law. They ignore the law.
Well, we kind of see this on the highest level of government. That's another show.
Okay.
I'll take my pen and my phone, and we'll deal with that later.
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying.
Right.
This is something where you have an administrator, and also you have a governor. And Governor Dayton has used his pen to thwart inspection of abortion facilities. There's a very good law written up for that.
Right. Yeah.
He vetoed that. And now, because of that, I call it an atmosphere or unspoken mandates. When you get a new person in office, they bring a set of beliefs, a worldview with them, and they have either appointments and/or people fall in line with the persons at the top's worldview. And Governor Dayton is pro-choice. I would dare say pro-abortion, because he's not. If it's about the health and welfare of the woman, then I think that having a clinic inspection law is just the least you can do. And so what this lawsuit has to do with the numbers. Your numbers are not adding up. These are too many women that are having elective abortions as opposed to you're supposed to be funding those that are really going to endanger her life.
Okay. Well, thanks for putting that together. And so either way, my understanding on this case, whether you win or lose it at the appellate court, it'll probably go up to the Minnesota Supreme Court.
Yeah, it's going to go up to the Supreme Court. And thanks to the ADF, Alliance Defending Freedom, who really are the ones that we're working with, and also a local attorney, Chuck Schreffler, is our attorney, and he's doing great work there.
Super,
so.
yeah.
And also as a disclaimer, or I should say maybe a plea for help, Denise and I do not get a dime out of this thing if we win ultimately, but we're more than privileged to lend our names to this.
Well, I sure appreciate it, because I do talk about that. It's just not right. It's a violation of my religious freedom, forcing money from me to pay for something that is so reprehensible to me and violates my religious beliefs. So therefore, I have no religious freedom.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian, for coming on. We're going to have you on again because we're going to talk about you and your wife's ministry to women after they've had abortions.
And men too.
And men too. And I'll be excited to have you back on. Well, thank you very much for watching Speechless. I hope you gained some good information, and we'll step out and be active and save lives. Remember, if you don't stand up for other people's liberties, who's going to stand up for yours? And good men don't do nothing. God bless. Have a great week.